most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. How we doing, brother?
Let's go, baby. Doing great, man. How to rock the baseball jersey. It's October, so you know it's October baseball playoffs, football, basketball coming up. And as always, you know why we're here, boys and girls and everything in between. We're here to talk MMA, mixed martial arts, violence. And we're taking a little trip across the world here, all the way to Saudi Arabia, a little island we like to call Fight Island way back when. I'm excited to see you, though, brother. I'm doing great today, man. As always. Another day in paradise.
Going to Saudi Arabia this time, folks. And what a card is it? I mean, it is a bit top heavy, I'll say, but there are definitely noteworthy fights on the preliminary card here. And you can bet your bottom dollar we are going to go over most of them, like 90% of them. We might skip one or two. But either way, folks, UFC 308 is upon us, aka UFC Saudi Arabia. Heads up, folks. Make sure you set your alarms. The prelims are starting as early as 7 o'clock a.m. And the main card is set to start at 11 a.m. if things don't change. So again, make sure you set your alarm, folks. Unfortunately, as you might notice, this is a pre-recorded episode. And we are not doing a recap episode on UFC Vegas 99. We're actually recording this one right before we record that one. I know. I'm even missing the Saints game for this, folks. I know it's double whammy, folks. But here we are. I digress. We are going to break down UFC 308 in its entirety. So let's go ahead and start that off. Again, addressing the elephant in the room, we have some canceled bouts. Those always suck, right? We had Alexander Volkov set to fight Cyril Gane. That one got pushed back, but that's okay. They're still going to fight by the end of the year, I believe. So jumping into the opening fight, we have Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Sarcaera. It's certainly going to be a fight in the light heavyweight division. And moving forward, we've got Hinat Fakhretdinov in the welterweight division coming in against Nursultan Ruziboyev, which is just a fun name to say, right? No, like, just say that with me. Ruziboyev. Come on.
Nursultan. I love it.
It just makes you feel good, dude. It makes you feel good.
Got a ring to it.
So I'll actually let you take the lead on this fight. I definitely have thoughts on it. A lot of experience coming in between these guys. We're talking like over 60 fights worth of experience here. So, Nano, what are your thoughts on this fight between Nursultan Ruziboyev and Hinat Fakhretdinov?
Let's go, baby. This is an absolute banger, man. This is a fun one to kickstart the UFC 308. Low key of a banger. And, you know, Dana White doesn't disappoint. When we're taking a trip out to this little Fight Island, he's going to bring all of his best shiny new toys. And this is a perfect example of it. Although the records certainly do not indicate that these are shiny new toys. But these are two badass prospects, two bad mother, shut your mouth. Guys going in here, man, I'm excited for this one. Rinat Fakhretdinov coming in with a 22-1-1 record, 33 years old. God, what's not to say about this guy? Absolute animal. He's violent. He's got all the skills. He can respond. He can go into those deep waters. He's really, really, really going to be challenged here. He's got another guy, difficult name. I mean, both Aolevs. I mean, this side of the world, man, these dudes don't mess around, okay? And Nursultan, a.k.a. Black Uzobayev. I mean, what can I say about this guy? I mean, just gonna go ahead and run it back. Another stud from another side of the world, violent fighter, really, really strong wrestling game, but he has the strikes to go with to complement his wrestling pedigree. And he's 6'5" here for this division, extremely long, very challenging, very hard guy to put together, right? I mean, a hard opponent to fight against to try to game plan for. So I'm curious to see what we're gonna what's gonna play out here in Abu Dhabi on Saturday morning. It sounds like for us here in the States. Man, I go back and forth, my brother. I go back and forth. I'm trying to quickly pull up the odds here, and Redknapp is the heavy favorite, but I may just stay away from it altogether from a bettor's perspective. One, might be able to kick back and enjoy it a little more stress free. But man, I mean, Nursultan is certainly a live dog. I can acknowledge the odds, and maybe they'll be subject to change here. Again, this is pre-recorded, so don't hold us to it. But if Renat is the favorite here, I'm not going to go against Vegas. I'll lead our boy Renat Fekredinov. But I think this could potentially be first night potential fight of the night. It's going to be a fun one. What do you think, brother?
Man, great breakdown as usual. First and foremost, though, I have to address the elephant in the room. We have already put our foot in our mouths a couple times. We've said Saudi Arabia. It's not in Saudi Arabia. It's in United Arab Emirates. It's actually at Etihad Arena. As you mentioned, it is Fight Island, which is Abu Dhabi. So, our bad, folks. Those are not the same place. I can honestly tell you my least skilled and least favorite subject in school was probably geography. So it shows.
Thanks for covering up my tracks there, brother. You're absolutely right.
I literally was like, wait a second. I feel like it is at Fight Island, but we've said Saudi Arabia, and those are two different places. So let me look this up. And I looked it up, and we were wrong, folks. It happens. But here's the thing. We're not here to deliver fake news, not on purpose, at least. If we ever say something wrong, typically we will fact check ourselves very shortly after and let you know pretty candidly that we put our foot in our mouth. So again, we'll sound the horn of shame there, and I'll move into my breakdown of this fight. So this is definitely an interesting fight, right? We've got two guys that are, seemingly at the very top of their game right now, if I'm calling a spade here. Nursultan Black Ruziboyev is just an absolute beast. Coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Joaquin Buckley, though. Definitely tough biz. But Joaquin Buckley is someone that has just really, really blossomed lately and showed a lot of skills. Much like somebody like a Hinat Fakhretdinov, the gladiator, standing across from Nursultan. The only guy that this dude has lost to in recent years is literally Craig Jones, and that was in a grappling tournament. And it took Craig Jones 11 and a half minutes to actually get a triangle choke on him. That's fucking wild. If you know who Craig Jones is, you know how wild that is. If you don't know who Craig Jones is, look up Craig Jones. And within a few minutes, you'll know how wild that is. Again, he went out there in his last fight and beat Nicholas Danish Dynamite Dalby. You know that he's a fan favorite here at this podcast. God, dude, this is a tough one. I like both of these fighters. They're two fighters that I really do want to see do well. But gun to my head, give me Hinat Fakhretdinov. I truly think that even though, he's got a 4-inch height deficit, it's only a 2-inch reach deficit for him. And I do think that he knows how to close the distance extremely well. He takes damage very well. And he's fought some pretty heavy hitters, like Brian Battles of the world. So the way he was able to suffocate Brian Battle and just make him look like a fish out of water, and I say that wholeheartedly as a Brian Battle fan. Shout out Twin Peaks in Las Vegas. Yeah, give me Hinat Fakhretdinov. And I think Brian Battle would agree with me because that only makes that loss age well. Moving into the next fight, we have a bantamweight bout between Farid Basharat and Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo, I think we can agree. Like, what a great name. He sounds like a Batman villain, right?
Honestly, yeah, he does. Von Hugo. Victor, don't doom Hugo. Yeah. There you go. That's what I was going for. Yeah, he's got a good ring to it, brother. He does.
Dude. I like this fight for a lot of reasons. Basharat is one of two UFC fighting brothers, to my knowledge, right? There's I forgot
the Bonfils
brother's name. No, the Bonfils are different brothers, but yeah.
Oh, his brother.
Basharat's.
It's Farid and it's not like Farad, is it?
Brothers.
Oh, Javid.
Farid and Javid. Nice. Yeah, they're beasts. Ferocious Farid Basharat. As when we talk about the Bonfim brothers, I think Farid probably has more skill at this point in his MMA career, in his MMA prowess. But man, I think he's gonna be really going against someone tough here in Victor Hugo. The guy has 25 wins and 4 losses. Farid Basharat has 12 professional fights. Granted, they're all wins. I mean, the guy has seemed ferocious, just like his nickname states, and seemingly untouchable. His opponent's nickname is literally Striker, which is concerning because that's what Farid does really well, in my opinion. He's a really good striker. So I'm really concerned about this fight on a lot of levels. Both men fight orthodox. Again, I would say Farid Basharat is definitely a striking heavy fighter that has submissions in the arsenal, right? He sets up the submissions by hurting you on the feet a lot of times. He does have 6 submission wins. He only has 1 TKO. He has 5 decision wins. His opponent, Striker, standing across from him with just a fire mustache, gotta say, for Victor Hugo here, folks. 7 wins by TKO, 10 wins by sub, 8 wins by decision. Obviously, I mean, there's a lot there, right? Like he's got twice as many wins in each category. The guy's an absolute beast. And I think Farid Basharat has his largest test thus far in his mixed martial arts career standing in front of him. I will say that out of the 4 times that striker Victor Hugo has lost fights, 3 of them have been finishes. So, I don't know, man. Maybe bet the under in this one. I feel like both these kids are going to be going out there really swinging for the fences. I don't know if you have a dog in this race in general or as far as the betting fences go, but yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, Nano?
I like it, brother. I like it. Great breakdown. Compliment the mustache as always. Got to appreciate good facial hair. But we got to acknowledge 2 great fighters, 2 absolute dogs going in here as well. They stacked this card, ladies and gents. May not be household names here in the States, maybe because not a lot of these fighters are going to be born or native statesmen, but Lord knows they're going to be badass, guys in there that go and lay it all on the line. And that's exactly what Ferocious Basharat goes out there and does. He's 4-0 since his Dana White Contender Series debut back in September of 2022. So in the last 2 years, been very, very busy. Has a triangle choke under his belt. Has a tough win over a Taylor Lopoulos, which I think has aged really well. Taylor Lopoulos looks like an absolute savage in the division. So Farid has to stick to his game plan. He's got that O next to his name, and Victor's going to want to try to take that away from him. But we've seen Farid in the octagon. We've seen him against UFC caliber opponents, even though striker Victor Hugo does have 2 wins in the octagon, 1 knee bar in the Dana White Contender Series last year, and then another win over Pedro Falcao. I'm not discrediting that, but I've just seen Basharat a little bit more, and the odds are certainly suggesting here at minus 440, or at least favoriting Farid here by a significant amount. That catches my eye as well. I think the UFC is seeing someone that we're familiar with seeing in the octagon. He's strong, and again, he has all the skills in the toolbox there. So I can't poke a lot of holes in the game. Victor Hugo is certainly someone that is always game for an upset. I'm sure he's not going out there to just roll on over. But the 25-4 record at 31 years old, with 7 KOs and 10 subs. 17 finishes there, and it's well spread out. Dude's talented. He's not going to be a sitting fish in there. So give me Farah Basharat. maybe I'll parlay it because again the odds are a little heavy so far. But in terms of picks, going with the Basharat brothers here on this one. Come on.
So there's actually been a shakeup. There's been some updates to this card.
Oh geez, and there might be more when this comes out. So
there probably will be. I'm sure of it. So I just sent you the updated card now. Shout out Big Marcel Dorf on Twitter for literally posting this today. On the day that we're recording, that is. So Aslan Sarkera is still on the card. Fakhretinov is fighting TBA.
And you know what's funny? He wasn't on Sherdog. So once we started breaking it down, I didn't want to say anything. I was like, "Oh, how did I miss this?"
I wonder why it's not on Sherdog.
But then I googled Renat, and there's no news. So yeah,
So
Twitter, the X verse is certainly above the Google verse, and when it comes to updated news here in real time, when it comes to these fights. So big shout out Marcel, and big shout out X. It's where a lot of y'all are most likely. And if you are there, give us a like. Give us a comment. Give us a shout out. Give my boy MMAnomaly a follow as well. But looking at the card now, man. Yeah, that's that's a bummer.
It's
hoping to see Renat.
It's a bit of a bust. But it is what it is.
Hey Jamie, can you go ahead and cut the last couple minutes there? Thank you.
Just cut that. So I mean, we do still have Fareed Basharat versus Hugo, so that's good. And the next one down the line is one that I'm actually very excited about. We have a heavyweight bout between one of the fighters that I drafted in our fantasy league, Chris Barnett. Shout out. Coming in there against Kennedy in Chukwu. This is a very interesting fight at heavyweight. I'm just going to come right out the gate and say that as of right now, the vast majority on Tapology would disagree with me. And that's okay, folks. I don't give a flying... Okay, I'm going with Chris Barnett here. I think he gets it done. I think he's going to be too fast, too slick, and too goddamn pretty in there. Yeah, give me Chris Barnett. I think he's going to have too many different looks for Kennedy and Chukwu in this one.
Bro.
What?
We might need to update this again.
What happened? Stop.
No, dude. Check on your boy. Why is all of a sudden UFC and DraftKings showing Justin Tafa as the opponent here for Kennedy?
No!
Dude, I'm not making this up, brother.
Oh my God, this might be the best, worst episode of the MMAnomaly Show.
Someone check on your boy. Oh, gosh. Chris Barnett gets new opponent, UFC Fight Night 244. Junior Tafa has stepped in. Wait. Chris Barnett, then another new booking 5 days ago. No, so it is Barnett. Hold on. Should be.
It's Barnett, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing to me right now, bro?
Jeez. Hey, DraftKings. I'm looking at DraftKings and ESP and UFC. UFC and DraftKings both had Junior. So it was the other way around. So Junior was before. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Hey man, it's been a crazy day already, all right? I'm just saying. Okay. Well, see, so what I'm seeing from a week ago, Hurricane Milton forces Chris Barnett to withdraw. So there's a lot of conflicting news here, but maybe we should go with Marcel. Let's assume he's on.
Let's go with Marcel. Marcel's never wrong, bro. I'm telling you right now, Marcel Dorf is a beacon of hope in the freaking muck of fake news MMA. Yeah, we're gonna stick with this guy. And I'm done. I'm done with my breakdown. Chris Barnett by fucking spinning back shit. And then he's gonna fucking breakdance after he wins by knockout. Let's go, Beast Boy. Who do you have in this one, Nano?
I like it. I'm going with Huggy Bear. I'm going Beast Boy. You know, I think regardless of what the stat line says, regardless of what's going to be going on, and I'm going against the grain in my own brain here, a little rhyme for us, because I typically do like the younger fighters, especially if it's 6 or 7 years or more. That cutoff, statistically speaking, it's significant. But my boy Chris Barnett, he's a little different now, isn't he? Huggy Bear, He's a little oddball, okay? He's an MMA anomaly, as we like to say around these parts. 38 years old, 23-8 record, 18 knockouts. He's a household name, even though he's a little bit newer on the scene. You know, he's only been whooping ass here in the UFC since 2021. 2-2 in the UFC. Did have a loss against Ben Rothwell, who went on to be a bare knuckle boxing beast.
Ben's a barbarian. Come on,
dude. I mean, that guy's a savage. Yeah, that guy is the mountain in Game of Thrones. Not literally, but figuratively. Yeah, man, I think he's game for a knockout at any point. Although Kennedy is in Chekwu at 32 years young. He's approaching his prime, or I guess still within his prime athletically. 12-5 record, 8 KOs, 1 sub. And he's coming more and more of a staple here in the division. I mean, he's been around the block. He's been in the UFC since 2018. Started on the Dana White Contender Series. Unfortunately, you know, the record indicates, a little bit to be desired. 7-5 record in that time. He's beaten the likes of a Carlos Ulberg and a Ian Kutalaba at Kennedy's best. He's a talented, very, very fun, flashy fighter. But unfortunately, what happens when you show a lot of flash and promise, you get matched up with other people that show a lot of flash and promise, and led to some losses to a Paul Craig, for example, a Dustin Jacoby, heck, even an OSP most recently, which if you would have told me that was 2018, I would have liked it more. But yeah, seeing that as a more recent lesson learned, doesn't give me any more vote of confidence to bet on our boy Kennedy at this point. Seems like Huggy Bear's been knowing about a fight, whether it's Justin Jr., any Tafa, all the Tafas, Kennedy, Hurricane Milton, anybody with the name Milton. I think Barnett's ready to throw hands. So give me Huggy Bear. Not to make it light. I mean, that's Spurs.
That's Spurs.
T's and P's.
Yeah, I mean, he had to pull out of his last fight because of Hurricane Milton, as we all know, folks. We did go over that on one of our episodes here. So, yeah, I mean, that's why he's fighting on UFC 308, and more power to him. I'm happy that he does get to fight on the pay-per-view versus on a UFC fight night that's at the Apex, right? With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the next fight, which is, and this is according to Marcel Dorf, the fight order obviously could change, but I definitely think this is going to be a bout that we see on Saturday morning. I almost said Saturday night. Depending on where you are in the globe. Abus Magomedov coming in against Bruno Ferreira, the Hulk. This is going to be a highly contested middleweight bout. Abus Magomedov definitely needs to prove himself. He is 3-2 in his last 5, coming off of a win after back-to-back losses, while his opponent is 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off of 2 back-to-back wins after hitting a loss in the UFC. Now, I think it's more important to mention who those losses and wins are to, right? So, his loss was to Nursultan Ruzaboyev, who you heard us talk very highly of earlier. His wins, and by his, I mean Bruno Ferreira, are over Leon Aliu on the Contender Series, Gregory fucking RoboCop Rodriguez, yeah, that guy, and he knocked him out in 4.5 minutes. And Phil Haas, he won in the first round as well as a knockout in the first round over Dustin Stoltzfus. Now let's tab over to Abus Magomedov. Look, his losses are to Caio Baralho and Sean Strickland. I don't think those are terrible folks to lose to, brother. Caio Baralho is literally Brazilian Johnny Cage. And Sean Strickland is, I mean, he's tough, man. He's built for it tough. In this fight, though, look, I do like Abus a lot, or Abus. I think he's very strong, and he's very well-rounded, right? He's able to get it done in many places. He can get the decision. He can grind out and get you in a sub. He can also knock you on your ass. He's got 14 wins that way by knockout, right? Standing across from him is a man who only knows how to finish or be finished. Bruno, the Hulk Ferreira, is someone that he has a go mentality. And you can't even say it like go. He's a go mentality, bro. Like, he's fucking in there, in the pocket. I don't think this is going to be any different. I think Bruno goes out there and probably tries to overwhelm his opponent extremely quickly. When we have seen a Boost struggle, it's when somebody opened up on him extremely quickly. Even back when he was in the PFL days, there's a 33-second knockout over him from Louis Taylor. And Sean Strickland knocked him out in 2 rounds. I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but how often does Sean Strickland win via knockout? So I think Bruno's probably going to go out there and get an early finish in the first round, maybe second. Definitely bet the under on this one or bet Bruno by finish. What are your thoughts, Nano?
I like it, brother. I like it. We are on the same page. We are both taking the, surprising to me, underdog here in Bruno Ferreira, okay? Hey, man. You mentioned that fight against RoboCop. Absolute savage fight. I love breaking it down. I loved a recap episode because that's the day I became a fan. I remember like it was yesterday. That's a few years ago now. So I've been doing this damn thing. Love you, brother. But, man, what an absolute fight here.
Got you, brother.
Come on, man. This is a good one, brother. You know, what I do see happening is it might be something similar to Sean Strickland, okay? As much as I love Abus, and I do think he is absolutely talented, he came into the UFC with a lot of hype. Obviously, he has the name to certainly warrant a little bit of hype, for sure. But 34 years old, 26-6 record, 14 KOs, 6 subs. I mean, man, a lot to be excited about. 2-2 in the UFC since. You mentioned that Sean Strickland loss. And like I said here, I expect something similar in that Bruno, someone strong, who I believe will come out a little patient. And I wouldn't be surprised if Abus comes out with some early success, whether it's his initial game plan, trying to take him down. Maybe he times a perfect shoot and is able to get Bruno, not rolling downhill, let's call it, right? You really can't get Bruno. If Bruno starts walking you down, if you give him any space, he's going to do what he does best, and that's put your lights out, okay? He's big, strong, but he's got really, really good technique as well. So I could see it maybe, I mean, you mentioned it maybe being a little bit quicker. If Bruno comes jumping out the gate, which I can see him literally running across, throwing some crazy leg kick or something along that nature. He's violent. He's fun. He means business. Like, he's going to jump out the gate. I'm just curious to see what Abus's answer is going to be. But even if it's a little slow, hey, Abus may even win the first round, maybe some of the second. But mark my words here. It ain't over till it's over. When Bruno Ferreira's in there, he's always a puncher's chance away. I'm taking the underdog. Screw you, Vegas. You made us look bad here just a second ago, making me think Tafa's still on there. Update your gosh darn records. Okay, it's 3-0 baby. Come on. Only a couple weeks away now. I digress.
Come on, Vegas. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
And with that being said, we move forward into a fight in the bantamweight division between Said Nurmagomedov versus Daniel Willie Cat Santos. This fight is an interesting matchup, in my opinion. I'll be honest. I mean, other than the fact that they have the same running 5, like 4-1, I don't know that it like makes a whole lot of sense to me stylistically. I think this should be easy pickings for Said. And maybe I'm on a crazy ledge here. Maybe you can talk me off of it, but I just genuinely think that this should be Said's fight to lose. If he's able to go out there, keep distance, keep range, he does have a 3-inch reach advantage too. He's a nasty guy to deal with out there, man. He's got 6 wins by sub, 4 wins by knockout, and 8 wins by decision. The dude is an absolute grinder. But we've seen in the UFC over a Sadiokub Kakhramonov, geez Louise, that's a tough one. And Muin Gafarov and a Cody the Spartan Stamen, that he can get it done in 2 rounds or less. 2 out of 3 of those I just mentioned were first round finishes, folks. In fact, across his UFC tenure, he gets it done in the first round more often than not. And not all of those are subs, folks. A handful of those are knockouts, oftentimes shots to the body. So I think this is going to be a nasty, nasty fight for him. I think this is going to be a tough night at the office for Daniel Willie Cat Santos. And again, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Daniel Santos just drew the short straw on this one. My goodness, I can't speak. Yeah. Am I on a crazy ledge here or?
No, I mean we've seen some crazy stat lines. So if you're insinuating it's Saeed's a minus 800 favorite, that's not the case. He's more around a minus 245. So it's close, but he certainly is the favorite. But no, brother, I'm not going to talk you off that ledge. I think I'm actually going to grab your arm, crisscross style here, like we're walking down the aisle. I'm going to go ahead and jump on in this river with you now. The thing with me, and yeah, I think I'm just going to reiterate the point you mentioned. Feels like Saeed's getting one here that should get him back on the right track. Not that it's a gimme. No one's necessarily a gimme, but when you really just look at both fighters individually, you look at a Saeed Nurmagomedov who really doesn't have a lot of blemishes and should and typically does walk through most of his opponents. Jonathan Martinez did have something to say about that. That was something I did not expect. And I think a little humbled, and Saeed might have been as well. He came back a madman after that. And I guess, can Daniel Santos pose a similar threat to what Jonathan Martinez did? I just don't think so, unfortunately. Though I think Daniel Santos has a bright future ahead of him. He's young. He's from the same camp as Charles Dubronx. So you're going to notice the same look there with the platinum blonde hair and the Brazilian style shorts. And he fights with that same style, that warrior mentality, that lion heart, to go out there and lay it all on the line. And to be honest, he has a freaking great chin. He has been clipped, but has bounced back, dropped, bounced back, and not necessarily complimentary to his skills. He does have high level skills, but he's been rocked a couple times, and I'm complimenting his ability to just weather those storms and just be an active dog all throughout. So that's probably why Saeed's not just running away with it from a odds perspective, but Saeed should go ahead and get it done. We're going to see some fun strikes because I do think Daniel Santos' game to go out there and lay it all out, swing and bang. I mean, 12-2 record. He's still young, bit green, bushy-tailed when it comes to his tenure. 29 years old, I guess similar to me, same age. But he's only 2-1 in the UFC. So, again, need to see a little bit more, but I think this will be a great lesson for Daniel Santos in the long run. Give me Saeed, though, for sure.
I definitely agree. I think it'll be a great growing lesson for him, but definitely give me Saeed. Moving into the next one, we have a lightweight bout between Mektabek Orolbai coming in against Mateos Rebecki, a.k.a. Rabisti. What a fun nickname, man. What a fun fucking nickname this guy has. Unfortunately for him, I think he's going to get his second loss in a row to the guy who's riding a hell of a win streak in Mektabek Orolbai. This guy hasn't lost since December 19th of 2020 to Khalid Satyev over at ACA Young Eagles. Look, folks, this is a fun fight. The Polish man against the man from Kyrgyzstan. Give me the man from Kyrgyzstan. There's a reason he's a pretty heavy Vegas favorite here. He's a minus 298 currently. I do think that line is going to shift by the time you folks get to watch this episode and we upload it a handful of days from now. But as of right now, Mektabek Orolbai is a minus 298. That might be the best odds you can get on him right now. Because I think his star is only going to shine brighter after Saturday night or Saturday morning. The grappling is going to be on full display here. The guy is a beast, but more so than that, he only has 2 decision wins. He gets 6 knockouts and 5 submissions. So he goes out there and he hits you with these takedown attempts, and it makes you think about the takedowns. And once you start overthinking about the takedowns, like a Hayward Charles, then you end up getting just dropped, right? He did the same thing to his last 2 opponents in LFA against Glaucio Elizario and Hayward Charles. He knocked them both out in the second round. And then for Euros, the Dr. Medic, he didn't even have to get his hands under the neck. No. He didn't even have to get him under the neck. He just cranked it. And granted, I would have tapped too, bro. If you're threatening to break my fucking neck, we're done, kid. We're done here. You beat me. I need to walk. I need to be able to move. I don't want to be Michael Keaton, Batman. So, look, all jokes aside, I like both men in this fight. I do think Mateus Rebecki is an absolute beast. Again, I just think somebody that drew the short end of the stick for this fight. Maybe he goes out there and proves me and Vegas wrong, and I'm probably going to assume you as well, but likely that's not the case. Again, I just think Miklovic is too much. The pressure, the energy. It's not even a matter of like strength when he knocks you out. It's literally the way he sets it up, the way he gets you looking down for a takedown, and then he just comes across the top, and you're like, oh no. That's pretty much it, man. I think he gets it done.
Absolutely, brother. I agree. Yeah, no, it kind of lulls you to sleep. Literally, it's very interesting. It almost feels similar to a Khabib Nurmagomedov in the sense of this guy's durable. He's got all the skills, and then he just starts piling on and it really like drains the life out of his opponents, man. And really speaking about Miklovic Orolbai here, he's a savage, and he's somebody that did really earn my respect for what he did against the Medic. I mean, he weathered the early onslaught. The Medic was hitting with some heavy punches, usually puts a lot of people out, like most people out, but man, he weathered it, didn't deviate from his game plan, and was able to get his hand raised. I mean, absolutely fantastic job there. Yeah, Miklovic is the real deal with only 2 fights in the UFC. Again, who they're over and how he went about it is all I needed to see, just using the good old-fashioned eyeball test here. So we're going to be talking about him more and more. He's still only 26 years young. I mean, bro, he looks 35. Just look at this guy's face. I mean, looks 3,035. This guy looks like an ancient being. But he's a stud. He's a stud, and he does have a tough dude in front of him in Mateus Rebecki, 32 years old, 19-2 record, 9 KO, 7 subs. Strong Polish fighter. I mean, dude looks like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger with how just buff he is. 4-fight win streak coming from the Dana White Contender Series, most recently KO'd by Diego Ferreira, who's an OG in the game, but getting KO'd by a 39-year-old who is not necessarily someone that's, itching closer to a title contention. I'm not too confident that he's going to be able to have a lot of answers for Miklovic's power, but also just his pressure. Like it's different. You try to replicate it, but it's nothing like you're used to until you get in there and truly experience it and get your hands on. And even again, when you're exhausting yourself, your adrenaline, after that adrenaline dump, and it's not like he's really like he's hurting you, but it's kind of death by 1,000 cuts. And his technique, it feels like you're in quicksand. Again, that's what reminds me of a Khabib in that sense. Just absolutely drowns his opponents, and I think that's what
I was just about to come off mute and say systematic drowning.
Let's go, baby.
That's why I love it, bro. Fucking hive mind today.
Always, man, always. Yeah, bro, I'm excited for this fight, but give me MO for show. Make the bet. Take it to the bank.
Make the bank.
Take it to the bank. Shorty, what
take
you
it to the bank with Mr. Bank. You already know what to make the bank. All right, so in the next bout, we have a really, really fun kind of passing of the torch kind of bout, in my opinion. It is a bout at welterweight between Jeff Hands of Steel Neal against Rafael Dos Santos. Good old RDA coming back into the octagon. RDA has 32 wins, 16 losses. His opponent has 15 wins and 6 losses. Look, I'm with the 90% of people on Tapology right now that have already voted on this one, folks. I'm with Neal. And not only am I with Neal, I think he gets it done by knockout. I think the boxing is going to be on full display here. I think it's going to be too much. And I think Rafael Dos Santos he's aging, is on the wrong side of 35. I mean, Jeff Neal is just right past his prime, but by no means past his use-by date. You know what I mean? Taking a page out of your book here and using the age as the Richter scale, folks. But not only that, Jeff Neal's got a fucking 5-inch reach advantage on him. 5-inch reach advantage. And the boxing overall striking advantage. This just spells disaster for RDA, in my opinion. It's going to be a very long night at the office for the young man. Well, not so young man. And I think unless he's able to get a takedown on Jeff Neal and control him with strong, dominant top control, basically take a page out of Hinato Money Moicano's book. Once you get control, start slicing his face open with the elbows. So that way a doctor has to step in and stop it in the next round. Because if he gets up in the next round, he starts throwing hands at you, again, it is not going to be a fun night. It is not going to be a fun night for RDA. So give me Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. And I mean, he's a Vegas favorite for a reason right now, right, folks? Minus 278 is what he's sitting at currently as we record this episode. Curious to hear your thoughts on this one, Nano. Are you going with the old dog or are you going with the young man?
Man, this is tough for me. This is tough for me. Well, let me not leave too much suspense, y'all. I am going for Joff Hands of Steel Neal. I am going with the young buck, but it's tough for me to bet against an RDA. I mean, gosh, he's looked so freaking good, man. He's really turned back Father Clock just a little bit there, temporarily, like one of those old school little I don't even what's the watches, whatever.
Like the grandfather?
For like the oven. Yeah, or I'm thinking like when you wind it up and it's like, you set it back just for a little bit, but it's just a little dial. Yeah, old school timer. Jeez, that's what I'm thinking of. That's how old we are here. But anyways, I digress. Hands of Steel Neal, man, he's so close to getting to where he's always wanted to get, right? I mean, he has all the tools. He's someone you want to root for. Doesn't necessarily like to talk. He'll just go out there and walk the walk. But unfortunately, his last two opponents, one of them's fighting for the championship soon, in Shavkat Rachmanov. And then on top of that, Ian Machado Gary, two studs, two guys that we're going to be talking about for a long time. And so for Jeff to lose to those guys in close, competitive fashion, I look at an RDA and I put RDA next to those two other names, and it's hard for me to say that that's all the same at this time, right? RDA 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm coming on a different story. He might be the champ of this division. That's how good this guy is. Could have been a double champ. He's extremely talented. He's durable. Hasn't really had a ton of injuries, so he still looks, like a lot of that doesn't go away. I love using the expression of an old pitcher that hasn't lost his fastball yet, okay? So it's a scary thing when you have all the tools and now you still have that fastball in your arsenal. It's like, all right, well, let me see what you young bucks can do. I've seen it all. With 32 wins under his belt and 48 total fights. I mean, RDA, man, absolute legend, first ballot Hall of Famer. Giving him his flowers while I have the platform here, but I just simply can't bet against my boy Jeff Neal. I just think he's gonna be too strong, and I think his technique has gone to a point now where I don't think he's gonna be able to find those holes as maybe someone else would have been able to do in the past. And I do think, because I'm expecting some clinch, some groundwork, like some stuff takedowns. I think we're going to see a diverse attack. However, if it turns into a straight boxing match for whatever reason, yay for us. But I do think Jeff Neal's going to find a way to throw those hands of steel and edge out a tough RDA who won't go anywhere. Whether it's 3 minutes, heck, could have been 25. I think I'd favor RDA in a 25er, to be honest. But give me Jeff Neal here. Keeping that 10 at his name here and going to keep trending in the right direction. Maybe try to get another crack at Machado or someone in the top 10 there. But not to get too ahead of ourselves here. That'd be fun, man. I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for him. I could be wrong. Might be wrong, but Vegas don't think so. So I don't think so either. Give me Jeff Neal. 5 by decision. It'll be a fun one, y'all.
Hell yeah. It will. So with that, we move into the next one, which is another fun one, taking place at the middleweight division between a fan favorite as of late, Shara Bullet Magomedov, a.k.a. Sharabutin Magomedov, coming in against Arman Superman Petrosian. This is a fun fight on so many levels for me, Nano. But I'm going to let you break it down first, because I feel like I've just been jumping the gun lately.
I love it, brother.
And while you do that, I'm going to do a shot with the fans that are watching this.
Let's go. Appreciate y'all. I would as well, but my meds right now, a little under the weather, but that's all good. I'm with you in spirit. I'm staying hydrated like we preach around here. Doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage, just any beverage of choice.
Don't be crazy.
Don't be crazy. No pressure. Okay, I digress. Let's talk about this fight. Shara Bullet getting back in there, 14-0 record. Magomed, man, going in against a tough son of a gun, repping Philly. Armin Petrosian, who's always game. He's our Superman from Armenia, but, fights out here in the States.
Bullet?
There we go, baby. Right on time.
Product placement.
I was say maybe that's a spoiler for who you might be leaning here, but I'm leaning that way as well. Not because I enjoy my bourbon and my rise. Salute to everybody. I just think Shara Bullet, man, he's trending in the right direction. He has all the skills. And every time he goes out there, man, he does something magical. I just think he has all the momentum. His career's trending in the right direction here. At 30 years old, 11 KOs under his belt. This is going to be the biggest challenge of his career. This is going to be a really big one. He's slotted here on the main card. All the eyeballs are going to be on him. In his backyard, I guess. He's kind of getting that nod. What are we going to see? Is he going to be able to dig deep? We've seen him do it, but I do think where Arman Petrosian can certainly expose Shara Bullet here is potentially in the ground game. Like, he can really go out there, smother him. We've seen Bullet fade, man. We've seen that Bullet not be able to go through quicksand or not be able to go through water like we thought maybe it could, right? It can only go so far. I'm trying to find an analogy to make it work, but that's what Arman's going to do, man. He's going to test him. He's going to put him into some deep waters. But Shara Bullet, man, he does magical stuff. So I think that's why he's the slim betting favorite here at minus 175. I wouldn't be surprised if it changes. I mean, again, the dude does have one eye, so I guess you could make a case if you're Arman, like, hey, on this guy, one eye, let's poke his good eye out, I'll be good to go. No, I'm just kidding. Jokes, don't do that. But I'm expecting some hand. I'm expecting a lot of striking here. But I think what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to go tit for tat with the Shara Bullet. You're going to want to try to neutralize him, get him up against the fence, cut angles, like close off the octagon so he doesn't have as much space to maneuver. And then once you make it ugly, get it a little muddied up a little bit, I think that's where Armin can have an opportunity. But again, I just can't bet against my guy Shara Bullet here. I think he'll find a way. Are we on the same page, my brother? Or
So we are almost exactly on the same page. As a betting man, I can't bet on this quite yet because not all the odds are out as we record this. We only have money line. And I'll be honest, from a money line standpoint, I don't really want to bet on this one. Minus 175 isn't juicy enough for me to want to bet on Shara Bullet. And I'm not confident enough to bet a unit on him to get 1.57 back. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to do that. But when the odds come out, you bet your fucking ass, kid, I am probably going to do a half unit on Shara Bullet by finish and a half unit on Arman Petrosian by decision. Now the reason
Smart
being,
man.
I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to do the double odds. So I'd probably do Arman Petrosian by decision or knockout because he does have 5 knockout wins and 3 decision wins. Mind you, he has a decision win. Wait for it. Over Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. If he's able to weather that storm and get a decision win over that guy, I mean, and it was a split. I have to sprinkle in, but still, a win's a win, is a win, is a win, is a win, is a win. So I say, if Shara doesn't knock him out in the first 2 rounds, he's probably going to get that decision win, Arman.
Yep, I do agree with that.
Superman.
Superman.
The oldest tattoo I have.
Nice. Oldie but goodie.
Got that when I was 17 years old.
Sheesh.
Shout out to them Louisiana tattoo shops, boy.
Come on.
So now we move into the next one. Let's see if I think this might be the second most we've agreed so far. It might be the most we've agreed, but we're probably going to start switching it up here at the top 4. Ooh. So we have Magomed Ankalaev coming in against the Rocket Man himself, Alexander Rakic, the Rocket. This is an interesting fight at the light heavyweight division. Both these guys are 32 years of age. One is 6'2", one is 6'3", 75-inch reach versus a 78-inch reach. Everything is virtually identical. Mike Goldberg would probably say, though it's not. One guy is a really good striker that has grappling in his back pocket, and the other guy is decent at grappling negation and has a lot of pop and a lot of spring in his step. I'm sure you know which ones I'm talking about when I give those descriptions, but for the viewers, here we go. The guy with the spring in his step, the guy with the real pop, well, that's why his nickname is the Rocket. Alexander, the Rocket. So this guy's an absolute beast. Look for the flying knees, look for the body kicks, real snappy with the movement, and very accurate, very tactical with the way that he sets up the strikes, in my opinion, is Alexander Rakic. Magomed Ankalaev, you can't always expect him to win. And even when you do, you can't expect there to be some controversy because that just seems to be the case. Win, lose, or draw, there's always some weird shit happening when Magomed Ankalaev fights. He did knock out Johnny Walker in his last fight, make Johnny Walker do another funny pose. I have to say, Johnny Walker getting knocked out might be the most memeable situation in the UFC's entire history.
Yeah, he's good. He's good for meme culture when it comes to his knockouts at this stage. And I mean, even early on, he was doing the worm, he was doing the goofy faces, stuff like that.
He falls like a
He's had a good run. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it's almost comic book-esque. It's kind of crazy. I was thinking of William Levis for fantasy football. He's like the same memeable guy, just all these bad things keep happening each week. It's just like that feels unfortunately like Johnny Walker too. Not to get too sidetracked, but
yeah, I love Johnny Walker. I think he's a funny guy. Like he's literally responded to me on Twitter in the last month. Like he's a funny guy. But it's not anything against him. Just every time he gets knocked out, he falls in the most awkward ways, and it's
just an expressive guy. I mean, what can we say?
Expressive guy.
He would say that too. He does some good faces, man. He's just an expressive guy. Fortunately, on the other side too.
So in this fight, I mean, excuse me, a little tickle in the back of the throat there. So in this fight, I have to be honest with you. I've got to side with Magomed Ankalaev, even if it's a weird, controversial win. Rakic is coming off a loss to Yuri Prokaska, a man who I have never seen train at a traditional MMA gym in my life. Like I like Yuri Prokaska, but I think if you've lost to him and then you're fighting Magomed Ankalaev, you're probably in trouble. And I know I'm using MMA math and that shit doesn't work fucking ever, but I digress. Give me Magomed in this one. I think he probably grapples a little bit more than usual and just saps the power and pop of Rakic early on. What do you think, Nano?
Yeah, I think that's probably what's most likely going to happen. So, contrary to your initial hunch, we are on the same page so far. I'm certainly rooting for our boy Alexander Rakic, someone that comes in, looks to be a champion, and just on paper. Like you look at him, you see him go out there and do it. It's like, man, he has all the makings to be a potential champion here in the future. 32 years old, 14-4 record, 9 KOs, 1 sub. And unfortunately for the Rocket, man, he's coming off those back-to-back losses, right? That's huge. Not ideal if you're trying to make a run in the UFC here, especially when that first loss was back in 2022 against Jan Blachowicz. You get injured. Things take time. We understand that. It just sucks when you're literally coming into the prime of your career. Now, fast forward 2 years later, you're 32 years old. You're going in there potentially rusty against someone who is another MMA anomaly in the UFC, and that being Yuri Prochazka. Man, not the outing he was looking for. Had some moments. Definitely had some moments. But unfortunately, and maybe is what Vegas saw as well, is Alex Rakic just wasn't able to hang. He started to fade, could not keep up with the barrage of punches, and they were going tit for tat. It was almost like a power slap, but in MMA, in the sense that They were, or more so maybe compared to like a Muay Thai or kickboxing match, because they were going tit for tat. Like, you throw your combo, I'll throw mine. Who's going to be the first one to go? And again, I thought Alex was going to have Yuri. He had Yuri multiple times, but Yuri was able to clinch down on that mouthpiece, dig a little bit deeper than Alex, and unfortunately, Alex wasn't able to weather the storm. So that's tough. That's his last 2 years, his back-to-back losses, and just unfortunately that much farther away from a title. But the UFC's granting him maybe this last hoorah, saying, hey, man, we do still believe in you. Here's the number one guy, essentially consensus. Though it's weird, another MMAnomaly. If you want to put your tinfoil hat here for Magomed, man, just an interesting stretch as well. He also fought Jan Blachowicz back in 2022. A split draw decision. Essentially just Dana White didn't like it enough to grant him champion. So he didn't get it. Then the no contest with Johnny Walker, the knee, which unfortunate there. That was Magomed's 2023 was a no contest with Johnny Walker. Comes back in January, rights that wrong, or I guess gets that finale. And now we're here today, right? End of 2024. Man, with huge implications, as I typically say around here as well. Stylistically, I don't expect either of these guys to really go to the ground. I think if anyone might want to, it'd be a Magomed Ankalaev, but I expect just some big, heavy strikes from pillar to post. But I think what's interesting with Magomed and why I feel like he's going to end up being victorious here is he's smart. There's something about him. He's 32 years old as well, 18-1 record, 10 KOs. And it just, for whatever reason, it just feels like people fall into the fight that he wants you to fight. He's lean the dance. He's got all the skills. And if I'm being honest, I don't think I've ever really seen him hurt. Whereas when I think of Alexander, I think of that injury. I think of him giving Yuri his best shot. You know, Yuri said, hit me with your best shot. Fire away. And he did. And the rocket lifted off. But, unlike that Tesla rocket, the rocket did not survive the landing. And, at this point, don't know if he ever will. And that's just where it's at. Unfortunately, I'm leaning Magomed Ankalaev. I think he'll showcase why he, and I say this, with a sigh, I guess, and I'm saying it tongue in cheek, I guess he finally will get his title shot. But that's probably what's going to end up happening here. And Vegas probably sees it the same way. So who am I to argue against Vegas odds? Come on.
So you actually think that they'll give him his title shot if he gets the win here?
Yeah, especially if he goes out there and knocks him out. He'll call for it. Alex said he already wants to fight in December, which is absolutely savage. So if he takes care of business, they may be fine in January.
I mean, I'd love to see it. I would definitely love to see it. And I truly hope that if Magomed gets that win, that he does end up unlocking the title shot, so to speak. But I just don't know that they'll give it to him. But we will see. We will see. Moving into the next fight, we have, and sorry for going off camera there for a second. I had probably the worst coughing fit I've ever had in my adult life. There it is. So, moving into the next fight, it is a bout between Liron, the Miracle Murphy, and Dan 50K Ige at featherweight. This fight's kind of fucked up, man. This fight is kind of fucked up. Because, like Dan 50K Ige, they're like, hey, we need you to do us a huge favor. We know you're sitting on your couch. You probably just got done eating some, Frito-Lay's barbecue chips. Can you fight tonight in Vegas for International Fight Week against this Diego Lopez kid? And so he did. He said, yeah, sure, I'll jump in the octagon and fight him. Put me on the scales. So he fights. And now they're like, all right, we're going to go ahead and feed you to this 33-year-old up-and-comer who's essentially in his prime. What do you think? And he still says yes. That's why he's 50K Ige. He's fighting undefeated Liron the Miracle Murphy, and I don't love Ige's odds on this one. No, I really, really don't. I do think that it is going to be a back and forth battle. I do think that it is going to be not an easy test. It's actually going to be the toughest test of Lerone Murphy's career, right? But the man is undefeated. He calls himself the Miracle for a reason. His wins are exactly 50-50 between KOs and decisions. I think if you want super juiced odds, you probably take him with the DraftKings Sportsbooks double chance, and you take him by decision or KO, because that's how he wins fights. He's not really a big sub guy, but I mean, 50K Ige is always in there, right? He's got great footwork. He's very elusive, got a really nice jab, and he's deceptively fast for how like thick and muscly he is, right? But I'm still gonna go with my guy, Lerone the Miracle Murphy. I just think he's gonna utilize every bit of that 2.5 inch reach advantage he has, and I think he's gonna make 50K Ige miss. And when he makes him miss, I think he's gonna make him pay. And as a 50K Ige fan, it pains me to say it, but I just think it's gonna be a tough night at the office for the kid. I don't think he should have accepted this fight. Nano, what do you think, man? Who do you have in this one? Do you have a dog in this race?
Oh, man. I mean, how do I not, brother? I love both these dogs, to be honest. I guess I consider both of them my dogs in the sense that I want them both to win. I love both their styles. I love this matchup. What I don't love was Dan Ige going back and, like you mentioned earlier, brother, in your breakdown, that fight against our boy Diego Lopez, that side quest, although it was certainly appreciated, and we watched it. Where are you? And I'm so sorry to hand you that loss there to Dan Ige. I mean, hey, man, he looked great. It was razor thin. Some people thought he might have even won. I think I would have gave him the benefit of the doubt just because of him taking on short notice. I don't think he won, but I'm saying he won a fan. He won, not in the record books is what I'm trying to say. But, man, is this too quick of a turnaround? I think that's one of my big questions. Because this Iceman in Lerone Murphy, I mean, he's got ice in his veins. I think that's kind of what the name's indicating. When the lights are bright, he shows out. I mean, there's no other way around it. This kid's special, and with an undefeated record, now, I guess in a way jumping up, or at least fighting a big-name guy. I guess jumping down technically in terms of the rankings, but 12-14, both these guys are at the top, the elite of the elite, so numbers aside, all things considered, it is hard to bet against the Dan Ige, who you know is ready to scrap anywhere, anytime, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. But man, yeah, I honestly like seeing that Lerone Murphy is a bet in favor right now, minus 198. Maybe that'll change if a lot of dogs like myself are gonna do a little bit of hedging on my boy Dan Ige. Always game for a finish. In fact, maybe I would hedge it with a finish. Dan 50K Ige to earn his name. Get the 0, get the 50. I'd hedge it, but to be honest, money on the line, just all things considered, I think Lerone Murphy probably has the best path to victory. Rewatch that Barbosa fight. Dude's masterclass on the feet. And the thing is, like, Dan Ige can make it messy and can certainly grapple and clinch with the best of them, but I just feel like Lerone can also do it. Like, it's one of those, anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No,
yes,
you can't. No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Trying to freestyle it there. Couldn't go too high, but hey, man, you stay for the fight analysis, and you stick around a little longer.
As I popped a cough drop in my fucking mouth for that like crazy coughing fit I had.
Just in time. Had to test the waters. But no, man, I mean, all jokes aside. Figaro. Go with Lerone Murphy. Iceman. That's it, brother. That's all I need to say. Ain't no other way.
Did he change his name to Iceman? Is it not the Miracle anymore?
Sure, dog. Sure, dog. Let's see.
Who do we trust? Do we trust Sure Dog or do we trust Tapology here?
Ooh.
I feel like they're both intuitive.
Oh, what's funny is on Wikipedia.
Saturday we'll know.
Yeah, on Wikipedia it's both the Miracle, the Iceman.
Oh, what the fuck? Wikipedia playing both sides?
Playing the feds, man. Playing the feds.
On to you guys. And with that being said, folks,
It's time!
for the co-main event of the evening, possibly the people's main event here, folks, we have Robert the Reaper, a.k.a. Bobby Nux Whitaker, coming in against Khamzat Chimaev. This fight has fireworks written all over it. Nano, tell the people who you have winning and why.
Oh man, this is a tough one, my brother. This is an absolute banger of a fight. Could have been its own pay-per-view, but I'll take it to the co-main as well. You know, we're spoiled rotten here. Thank you, Dana. Bobby Nux going up against the Wolf. Finally. Two of the best, man. Rob, let me just start there because he's an absolute legend. One of the best to ever do it. 33 years old, 26-7 record, 10 KOs, 5 subs, ex-champ. And always his game, man. He's never out of it. Never necessarily looks bad until, it looks bad. Last time he was finished was back in 2019. But he's really, really, really turned back the clock a little bit. I mean, he's a unique one. Him and Max next, who we'll end up talking about. But literal, similar records, runs. Very, 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 almost identical. It's crazy to say. But, hey, Bobby Nux here. It's just, I'm beating around the bush. I'm having a hard time on camera here telling the world that I'm betting against my boy Bobby Knuckles, who I've seen go out there and beat the who's who defies the odds and does it the right way. I think it's going to be a bad night for my boy Bobby Nux. I think he's going to be in there. He's going to do his best to weather the storm. I wish there were 5 rounds. I think that'd help him out a little bit more. But he is the underdog here. And so I'm not going with the underdog Bobby Nux because he's got a hungry wolf in front of him. Let's go right on cue, baby. I was going to do it myself, but why even strain my vocal cords?
Brother, I got you.
Come on, baby. Wow.
As soon as I realized which corner you were in, I was like, I got to get the wolf sound.
All right. Let me get it. Let me go. Here we go. Well, you're absolutely right, brother. No secret here. Cat is out the bag. I'm going with the wolf, man. I think it's his time. He's 30 years old, 13-0. So we're talking another undefeated guy here. 6 KOs, 5 subs. And the thing with Khamzat, man, is it's similar to Dricus Duplessis. I think he's so gosh darn big for the division. And he's strong. People don't realize how strong he is. I think that's the one thing Bobby's going to walk away after is like, oh, I know. They talk about this wolf guy. He looks kind of skinny of a bloke, but boy, he's pretty fucking strong. Couldn't get him off me. Fucking hell. So it's going to be something along those lines. And Khamzat's going to be, oh, no, I smash you. I don't care. I kill you, and I want the belt. And that's what he's going to go do, I think. Khamzat is on a crash course with the Dricus, with the Izzy. All these guys are just some of my favorite fighters of all time. All-time greats. This is going to be a classic matchup. I already know it. There's no way this is boring at any time. Fuck, man, I'm excited for this, brother. This is going to be it, man. This is going to be it. 2 big dogs going at it. Only one can survive, but I do think the wolf is going to eat some nuts for breakfast, unfortunately, since it is kind of the morning time. Kind of tied all together there with a little bow. Hand it back to my co-host with the most. What you got, brother? Are we in the same boat here, or are you going against the stream?
brother. Look, I have to say, for as much as we have agreed tonight, I'm happy to go, but it ends here, son. I am an old dog, so you know how this story ends, folks. I'm going with the old dogs, all right? Give me the fucking old dogs. Give me the vets. Give me Bobby Nux, okay? Give me the Grim fucking Reaper. I think he's going to come and take this man's soul. Let me tell you why. Look, his last fight was against Kamaru Usman, right? And I love Kamaru Usman. I think he's an absolute beast. The Nigerian nightmare, right? But that's a welterweight, dog. And they fought at middleweight. And Kamaru gave him a fucking time in there. He made him gas out in that last round. All I can say is that he's lucky this is not a 5-round bout. If it was, oh man, he would be in for a tough night with Bobby Nux. But I think it actually serves Bobby Nux even better. Bobby Nux has been in nothing but 5-round bouts for the last how many? Right? He's had to fight more conservatively. I think we're going to get a vintage Bobby Nux up in here on Saturday night. I think we're going to get a guy who comes in and pushes the pace against Khamzat Chimaev and never even gives him the chance to open up. I think that as soon as that wolf starts to fucking howl, he's going to shut the fuck up, son. He's going to cut that shit real quick. The moon's going to go down real early. It's never going to get full. We're never going to see that wolf fully transform. And I think the wolf gets silenced. And that's that. I think Bobby Nux just has too good of a toolbox, right? And when have we ever seen him come out there and get dominated by wrestling? Fucking never. I don't think it's going to happen in this time. And I think he's just going to be too strong for Khamzat to come in there and dominate him the way that he has before. So bring it on. I can't wait to fucking see it. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. But I do think that Robert Whittaker, or as they call him in Brazil, Robert Whittaker, he's probably going to go out there and silence the wolf, folks. I say again. So we're differing on this one, and that's okay, because I still love you, kid. He's still my boy, okay? He's still my boy.
Ditto, my brother. Right back at you. Man, I could be talked out of him. I mean, again, I will be absolutely happy if Bobby Nux goes out there, turns back the test of time, tells the wolf, it ain't your time yet. I still got some fight left in me. And then listen. Both these guys are inevitably going to be fighting an Izzy or the champ, whoever that may be. Could be Sean, could be Torikis, probably Torikis. But a lot of fun possibilities in this division, man. So that's where it's at. Let's go, baby.
I love it, man. We agreed on so much leading up to this, so it's okay. It's okay that we're not agreeing on this one.
Yep, that's right. We love a
little festivities. That just means one of us will be doing shots on the next episode, folks. Ilya Taporia coming in against Max Blessed Holloway in the featherweight division is definitely a sight to behold. It is a fight that I think a lot of people have been clamoring for some time. And look, there is a bit of a height difference, 3 inches. There is a bit of an age difference, 32 to 27 years of age. But everything else, as Mike Goldberg would say, is virtually identical. I'm stoked on this fight, man. I'm so fucking stoked on this fight. Oh man. I feel like we're gonna differentiate here again.
Oh man.
And again, I feel like I went first like 3 times in a row, like for some of those prelims. So I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. Because I'm genuinely intrigued to hear what you have to say about this one. And I would be shocked if we agree, but I hope we do.
Well, I've been going back and forth, my brother. This is a huge fight. This is honestly, I was thinking about it, like, especially when I saw it populate on my feed and I, got on the dock. I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about this fight. I realized, like, yeah, this is actually the most excited I've been for a fight in a long time. One, because I'm so freaking torn. Like, I love both these guys. And 2, like, stylistically, like, there's so many scenarios running through my head, but it's all violent and it's all fucking awesome. Like, I really don't know who's going to win. I do feel like we're going to see the best boxing we may ever see. 2 of the best to ever do it in their prime, with a chip on their shoulder, with a lot to prove. 2 belts on the line, a bad mofo against really the new kid on the block, right? I mean, everyone talks about the new age fighter and things like that. Obviously, people love talking generations or what have you. The reality is, I mean, tit for tat, like, Ilya Taporia, one of the baddest dudes on the planet. I mean, his boxing is that of a pro boxer. I mean, he is so slick. You just simply don't see it that often. I mean, Brandon Royval was demonstrating a little bit of it last week, if you watched that fight, or a couple weeks ago now when you're watching this. But mark my words, like, go watch the Canelos, go watch the Floyd Mayweathers. Like, that's the type of head movement and awareness and spacing, the Dustin Poiriers of the world. Heck, I say reluctantly, but even Conor in his prime, I mean, his awareness was next level. I mean, down to the millimeter or the no room for error. All that to say, we're gonna see phenomenal striking, and I'm sticking with the young buck. And still, he's a little cringe. He's a little bit, provocative for sure, polarizing. And and I thought like the BMF belt was a little cringe. I saw their back and forth, but then I realized this is also the same guy who he was 15-0, and he was the champion before he was 15-0 the champion.
Like 3 fucking months before,
like a long time before, and didn't say anything. It was just kind of like, oh wait, so yeah, I think that's just how he operates. And god damn it, he hasn't been wrong yet. But now we got a different version of Blessed Holloway here. We got Super Saiyan 3 Max Holloway, partially the hair, a little bit longer as well. But this is a new unlocked version of our boy. I am so fucking excited with this version of him who's hungry, who sees the path, who knows this young buck's been talking. I don't know how much of a difference is the weight cut will make, the 155 down to 145 for Max. Because he's looking bigger, he's looking stronger these days. But I know he lives a good lifestyle, things like that. So outside of the weight cut, I hope that doesn't take away too much from his chin or his ability to go out there and just make it a war. I mean, obviously, did Gaethje drop him? I guess it wasn't scored to drop, but I guess maybe he kind of rattled him a little bit. But outside of that, he has not ever been dropped. So Ilya is going to go out there and
he basically like took a knee, so they didn't count it as a drop.
Okay, yeah. Official, unofficial. So basically, not as a featherweight, we can basically say no one's dropped him in this weight class. So, and Ilya knows that, and Ilya is going to be shooting for it. I just think it boils down to just true like boxing like technique, and I actually do think at this point, like I do think Ilya is a little bit slicker. MMA fighting, dude, Max any day, anywhere, like any gloves, like I trust Max to get it done. But with everything considered, like I think that I think it's gonna be back and forth. I think Max can win some rounds. Honestly, the thing that I'm unsure of is how Ilya's gonna look in those 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds when you have a Max putting pressure. Like he's not gonna go anywhere. Like Volk was coming at Ilya in spurts, and he'd get him, and then he'd kind of retreat, reset. Like Max isn't going to do a lot of that. Max is going to just walk you down, throw a bunch of strikes like a true boxing match would. And so is Ilya going to be ready for that? And he is going to look great early on. Probably will win those first 2, maybe 3, which can obviously be the end all be all. But how's that 4th, 5th going to look? Again, that's the excitement, that's the allure. But Ilya's young. I mean, I don't have a reason to think he's gonna fade, but the reality is that's what Max Holloway does to you now. He gets you fighting in that hyperbolic time chamber. And it's a little different. Gravity's a little different now. But I guess honestly, fighting over there and being in the morning, all things considered, maybe those factors favor Ilya. But yeah, man, I'm going the young buck here. I'm assuming that's what you thought I was going to do, and you're going to sit here and tell me how I need to rethink how the old bull still got a lot to teach the young calves here. Is that what am I on par?
I mean, you're pretty on par. You're pretty on point.
Let's go, baby.
In fact, I already poured a shot for myself. I know you're not drinking tonight, but I'm doing a solo here. In honor to the old Ducks, all the ones that have retired here recently, and all the ones that are coming back, all the ones that have hung them up, and all the ones that keep adding to the stack. Here's to you, and here's to all that you do. Inside the Octagon and out, folks.
Agreed.
And with that being said, let me tell you where you're wrong. I
Disagree.
I love you, brother. But look, man. This fucking guy, Max Holloway. I agree with you in so many things you said. I do think that Ilya is a stud. I do think Ilya is the future. I just don't know that the future is now, brother. He's 27 years of age. He's still very young. Max Holloway, a lot of people think he's an old dog, which, shout out to the old dogs around the world. He's a dog. He is a dog. I'll let the dog clip keep going because he's a fucking dog. But he is not old by any means. He's a fucking young man. He's much younger than me. He's only 32 years of age, folks. He's a young guy in this fucking sport. In fact, I would tell you, if you've watched the fucking episodes before this episode, you would know that I've said numerous times, time and time again, that between 30 and 34, like that is the age of the prime, right? In MMA, because your brain catches up to your body catches up to your brain. You're right here. Boom. 32 to 34 is this range. Or sorry, 30 to 34 is this range. So he's literally right in the middle of his fucking MMA prime, kids. I think he's only getting better here. We have seen this new improved version of him, and you fucking love to see it, kid. You love to see it, kid. So do I think that Ilya Topuria right now seems like an unbreakable stone? This is Ilya Topuria, folks. He is an unbreakable stone right now. But even if you take this very polished, beautiful, unbreakable stone, if you put it under a waterfall, fuck that. If you put it in a gentle stream, as long as that stream is moving, and Max is going to constantly be moving, folks. As long as that water is flowing constantly, it will eventually break that rock down unto its very core and just delete it from existence. So what happens when an unbreakable rock faces a constant flow of pressure? That rock will break. Max Holloway is the constant flow of pressure. Ilya Topuria is the unbreakable rock here, folks. That's how I see it going. I think Ilya Topuria wins rounds 1 and 2. And then I think Max starts to wilt the rose. And you just see, like, look, you know what roses love? Water. But you know what can kill a rose if you get too much of it? Water. So that's what I think is going to happen, folks. I think Max is just going to constantly be just pouring it on and pouring it on and pouring it on. And Ilya at some point is either going to start to lose the fight, a la round 3, 4, and 5, or he's just going to indefinitely lose the fight and have to tap out or just ultimately get knocked out. So give me a real MMA anomaly in Max motherfucking Holloway here, folks. That's my pick. That's who my shot's on for next week. Yeah, no. I knew we were going to disagree on these last fucking 2. I knew it.
Man, I mean, I think it was certainly insinuated. I think based on your initial response last fight, I was like, okay, he's going to stick with the old bucks. And good thing I'm sticking with my young guns here, so it all made sense. But yeah, brother, I could be talked either way. I mean, these guys are both, and what's funny is both are similar odds. In fact, both the same as of now. You're getting minus 198 for both Khamzat and Ilya, and then plus 218 for both Rob and Max. Or wherever it changes. Curious to know if you see some changes, put in the comments because, it's time-stamped here. We're a little bit early. Things are subject to change, the card itself. But all things considered, I am so excited for this main card, these main event. We're spoiled rotten. The royalty out there in Abu Dhabi and Fight Island are getting a good one, y'all. Two of the best to do it right now. Man, yeah, the Blessed Era can potentially come in here and really do what he needs to do. So I'd be excited for it. I think, like you said, it's going to take almost a Herculean effort, but if anyone's going to do it, it's our boy Max.
It's our boy Max, brother. And look here, man. I think if we're talking betting, right, this is a good place to go. This is a really good place to go because, again, like if we look at the betting odds here, plus 180 on Robert Whittaker, aka Habati Whittaker, and plus 180 on Max Holloway. So you can get Bobby Nux and Bless at plus 180 each. You can parlay those guys for a plus 684 odds parlay. What I'm going to do, I'll tell you right now, okay? I'm going to put a unit on each of them singularly, and I'm also going to put a unit on the two-leg parlay here. So Robert Whittaker, Max Holloway, money line, because that's all we got fucking access to while we're recording this shit. Money line, plus 180 each. So one unit will get you 2.8 units. And then a two-leg parlay, Max Holloway, Robert Whittaker money line, plus 684. That means one unit will net you 7.84. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that for sure. And against my better judgment, I hope we win money. So we will see how that plays. Folks, remember, please only gamble if you have the extra money to spend, and only gamble with money you are willing to lose. Please play responsibly, as they say on DraftKings Sportsbooks. And yeah, we would just never encourage you to overdo it. Right, folks? Nano, before we close out this episode, do you have any bets that you're feeling really, really hype on?
Ooh, I typically go towards my parlays and things like that, and maybe I'll put a couple together as they change, or maybe as we approach it a little bit closer. But for now, I have a few money line picks that I'm certainly excited about as I'm pulling things up. I mean, again, honestly, getting Ilya or Kamzat, one of those guys at minus under 200, not too shabby if you want to put a couple of those together. I do like my boy Lerone Murphy. I think I'd put a little money on him. Jeff Neal's just such a heavy favorite. A lot of these the odds are I'd say interesting to say the least. A couple dogs I like. Let me start there. Bruno. Definitely my boy Bruno at plus 130. So I think I would put him in the conversation. And that is probably, yeah.
You know that's already changed, right?
Did it really?
Yeah, it's 124 now.
Well, there you go. Get it while you can.
I refreshed the page. It's plus 124 for Bruno money line.
Get it while you can. They're listening to us. I think they're listening.
We're far out right now, bro. I don't understand. How
I think there's a wire in the room.
This right now?
I think there's a camera in the vent. I hear footsteps. Oh no.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I'll tell you right now, I have 3 that are set. Not big bets. We're gonna do a fifth of a unit on he not fuck Retinov. Right? And just to put it in perspective, he is a minus 360 favorite. So if you put 1 unit on him, you'd get 1.27. Okay. So if we're putting a fifth of a unit on him, you're getting 0.25. Not a whole lot of gain there, but it feels like a safe bet. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and put the fifth of a unit on him. Now from here, it gets dicey, my friend. It's a little bit dicey. But you know what? You're a jive turkey, so I know you're going to love this. We got Victor Hugo at plus 340. The odds are just too juiced, bro. It's a trap. It's a trap for sure. I need to get that soundbite from Star Wars. It's a trap. We're going to for sure get DCMA the first time we use it, but it's worth a shot. You know what I'm saying?
Worth it.
It's a trap. It's worth it. It is worth it. So we're going Victor Hugo. We're gonna do a fifth of a unit on him. Again, to put that in perspective, a fifth of a unit gets you damn close to a whole unit, right? A fifth of a unit will get you 0.88. So we're gonna do that. We have to do that. It's just, it does feel like they're baiting us, but it's okay. We're gonna do it anyways. And then for Bruno, fucking hater, the Incredible Hulk. You put a half unit on this kid, you can get 1.12. And that's exactly what we're gonna do, folks. We're gonna put a half unit on him. I like this one a lot. Yeah, this is gonna build the bank for next week, folks. I think at least 2 out of 3 of these are probably going to hit. And then the underdog bets are obviously not out quite yet because we're recording this early because I will be in London. This guy's going to be in fucking Spain out here, bro.
We're out here seeing the world. Do some reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance. You already know, baby. So yeah, man, we're going to be out there having fun. But we didn't want to leave you guys hanging, especially for such a big card. So we wanted to make sure we recorded this preemptively, so to speak. So yeah, those are my bets. And then obviously, other than that one, we have the 2-leg parlay that I already mentioned earlier. And of course, that is, the co-main and main event. We got the plus 180 and the plus 180. So make sure you tap those in if you're okay to lose that money, because I'm not sure that you'll make it back. I just don't know. And obviously, make sure you tell Jive Turkey Nano's bets. He'll post those at some point on Twitter, probably. And if he doesn't, I apologize. Probably because he's having a good fucking time in Spain, folks. But give him a follow anyways on the Twitter, on the X. Sorry, X. Does anybody actually call it X? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments. Do you call it Twitter or do you call it X?
The bird
app. If you do that, we'll know that you lasted the whole 1 hour and 31 minutes, folks. So here, make sure you let us know. And again, without further ado, folks, we're going to do the YouTube plug. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And as we like to say, the only other thing that we really, really hope you do after watching this show is keep on going and keep on growing, folks. We really appreciate it.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.